So my life, I grew up in sports. That was my whole life. And then after college sports, I didn't have any direction. I was lost, didn't know what to do. Made a lot of horrible decisions that led me to putting myself into a bad situation where I got jumped by 4 guys. And I pretty much gave up on life at that point. I was going to fall down. And once you fall down in a fight, you're going to get stomped. And I was falling down to like a wall sit position. And I felt something pushing me back up. I know that now is the hand of God. At the time, I was like, why am I not falling down? I raised back up and I got out of the situation because I wasn't even fighting back. I gave up. Laid in a fetal position in a place where no one knew where I was. And I didn't know God. I didn't have a relationship with God at the time, but I told God, hey, let me die here. And then 4 to 5 hours later, I asked God to get me through the weekend, thinking I could do that on my own starting Monday. On Monday, I still needed God. And from then on, I bled the way. And so that day was my worst day of my life, June 2nd, 2006, and my best day. And then a year later, I was asked to start a sports ministry, and I didn't know how, didn't know what. I fought it for 3 months, and then I finally gave in just to have the pastor, be quiet and not bug me anymore. And it started. I just started inviting people to beach volleyball and pick up basketball, and then they're like, "Oh, Don started a league." I was like, "Okay," and then started a league. Struggled for the first 5 years because it's about me playing, and then I really realized, hey, it's about the ministry, not me. And that was the biggest part and the growth. And God's blessed it tremendously over the last 5 years, and we became one of the top leagues in California, NBA guys, and now we're getting pushed in the women and the men pro-am circuit, and sending guys overseas, making sure they're comfortable and not being taken advantage because it's the dark world. The basketball world is dark. There's a lot of shady people, and we're just trying to be the light in that market. And we have people that we've even had Muslim, ask me to pray, and he knows who I pray to. But it's just been an amazing journey, and God's done amazing things, and I just want to share that story more and more, and inspire more and more. And now I'm praying that it's all volunteer so far, so I'm praying that it becomes, I feel really pushed to do full-time ministry, and just praying what that looks like, and there'll be more to come in the future.
Hey everybody, welcome to REACHgathering 2021. I am Andrew Fouts. This is an OVRadio special here. We're going to be doing this Misfits style. We're going to be doing this CSRM podcast style. But today we finally have been able to track down, since he's been stuck on a mountain and can't run away from us anymore, the one and only Don Weyrick. Don is a misfit in the fact that he's, a lot of people would not consider him a sports minister, sports rec fitness minister, sports pastor, any of that. But yet he's doing all the same work as the rest of us. Don runs Playing for Eternity out in Southern California, and this is a different type of ministry because we don't, we were just talking, I don't even know what really to call it, because you're a pro-am, but you're not a pro-am. You're a league, but you're not a league. You're a development center, but you're not a development center. You're a parachurch, but you're not a parachurch. You're a church, but you're not a church. What exactly is Playing for Eternity here?
I guess the name fits, Misfits all across the board, and not the ministry too, but we're a little bit of everything. It's all volunteer-based, so that's kind of where we're at. But we're a ministry that is not associated to any one church. It is in the works that, praying that the church that I'm attending, Legacy Church, P4E will come on in some sort. Just praying about what that looks like. But we're an outreach ministry, 90% outreach, which is not the norm. And we're just reaching the urban community because the game of basketball, we've turned into one of the top leagues in California, which is kind of amazing in how good God is. And we've also turned it into one of the top women's league just during COVID, which is kind of crazy. Having NBA guys and WNBA girls playing in our league, and knowing they got to act different, and by relational they're learning the love of Jesus.
Yeah, so that's the first place we kind of want to start with you is how do you, as somebody who, you're just, you basically are just coming in, opening up the gym and saying, hey, sign up, let's play some basketball, we'll coordinate everything. How do you get these professional athletes who basketball literally is their livelihood? How do you get them to go from this is what I do every day, this is my job, and so this is how I act, to coming into your gym and understanding that, hey, this is a little bit of a different style of basketball than I'm used to. I'm not going to be able to just, I'm not going to be out here just swearing every other play. The hard fouls are going to be not as widely accepted when they're extremely hard. How do you take these professional athletes and get them to understand, hey, there's more than the game of basketball here?
Well, first I'm upfront with them. So I let them know the groundwork of what we're about before they even think about joining the league. And usually they come with friends that have already played in the league by word of mouth, marketing wise. And those players they police their own. So they know what we're about. They know me. They respect me, at least, even though they may not believe in certain circumstances. They respect me and what I got going on and what I stand for. And then therefore they respect what P4E is about. But I don't judge them right away. I don't judge them at all, but if they cuss right away, hey, like I work progress. I expect more from the guys that have played in our league multiple seasons versus the new guy. And then I just try to build one-on-one relationships like we're doing right now, talking to them one-on-one so they know me and I know them. And then we got a better understanding. And over time, they'll learn respect and they'll learn why I love them. And that's because Jesus loves them.
Awesome. So going a step further from that, you actually have, at least recently, I've only connected with you maybe the past 5-6 years, something like that. You've been a friend of CSRM for a lot longer, but you have seen actually a lot of good ministry success, even just in the past 2 years, even just pandemic wise, both basketball and spiritual wise. You've had some baptisms, you've had some professional signings. What's the attitude, at least among a lot of your regular guys, as far as what this is? Do they look at this as this is their chance to build themselves basketball? Is this their chance for them to, is this a discipleship thing for them, or is this just a combination of both?
Combination of both. Everyone's different, and usually they come in just to compete, especially in our open division. We have couple different divisions, but our open division, men's wise, they're coming to compete because it's one of the top leagues in California, and they know, and it's one of the cheapest too.
That's always a big factor.
Yeah, especially with hoopers, like especially guys trying to play pro, they're not working as much, or they're just driving Uber or Postmates or something like that. But
shout out to my fellow drivers,
right? But these guys, everybody's different, so they come in wanting to compete, and then by the relationships we pour into, we're praying that they reach the, hey, let's learn a little, share a prayer request, let's move on to the next level. And little by little, then they're thinking about, hey, what is Jesus? Or, like, oh, Don prayed for me, and this happened, and this, like, I need prayer. I need more than, like, there's something in this league different. And then they realize it's because of Jesus. And then along the line, reach baptism, discipleship, and so on. But the ministry has been going on for like 10 years, but really only the last 6, this is our 6th year of it really became a ministry and not about me playing. Before, the first 5 years, it was me playing, hooping, and then ministry on the side. I didn't know it at the time. I was honestly thinking it was all ministry, but I realized like 6 years ago that, it was about me. And once my mindset changed and I just let Jesus take over, the ministry really happened. And it's not by coincidence that's when we started blowing up and started getting more traction within the pro-am part. And now we're crazy. It's crazy good. During COVID, we doubled the numbers because we were one of the first leagues back.
Which for people to get context, again, you're Southern California, which everybody knows how California handled the pandemic.
Yeah.
So for a basketball league that is all meeting together and hands-on to grow in the state that was the most locked down of any, and for the longest time, that's definitely got to be a God thing for that to actually be able to take place.
Yeah, we were the ones. There was one underground league that kept playing. I don't know. I won't speak on that, but
we're not gonna blow anybody's cover here.
We're not putting them on blast, but at least they gave an avenue for guys to play. But we were one of the first leagues besides that one that the church that I attend gave me approval to go through in the city. And as far as I know, we haven't had one COVID case from the league.
From the league.
Yeah, like
good clarification there, from the league.
Yeah, and I tell the guys if they're sick, they don't show up, and we put in different protocols, temperature checks, and sign-in sheets. But before that, we had 3 baptisms during the lockdown. Just meeting with guys on Instagram, and me and you talked about podcasts and different avenues to reach guys, because that was the thing I missed the most, is connecting with these guys and them not being church folk. Like, we're the church to them. P4E is. So if we're not playing, then what church are they getting? So we still got to connect with certain guys, and those 3 people probably wouldn't have been baptized. At least as soon as they did. God would have still worked in their lives, but because of the lockdown, it kind of refocused all 3 of them, and 2 of them are professional hoopers, a male, female, and all 3 were in my backyard pool, which is amazing, the coolest thing ever. And so yeah, that was actually the highlight of COVID, by far. Like, baptizing the 3 people in the car, Travis, T, and Victor. And it's led to other people in the future that want to get baptized. And just because they saw their fellow hooper, oh, I respect her, like what she's getting baptized. She's speaking about Jesus now. And
maybe we can take this more seriously.
Now it's not, I need to get serious before it's too late.
Yeah. So, those of you that are listening through CSRM, you guys, we hear this all the time. Those of you that are listening to Misfits, we talked about this first, I think, with the McDowells, but even though you're talking about how those first 4 years or so was more of God working on you to change your attitude, the timeline you've got there is exactly what Dr. Linville talks about, as far as, especially, again, inner city style ministry, sports ministry of 4 to 7 years before we start to see fruit. And I fully suspect that even though for you felt like most of the work the Spirit was doing was on you, there still has been massive impact within not just the local community, but the basketball community as a whole. Because your guys are signing, and you now have presence overseas. You've got presence in other states. So much so that you actually have been approached. P4E is expanding beyond just being a little community league now to, you and I were talking, almost trying to replicate what you're doing with P4E in another professional arena with the Orcas and with some other teams. So give us a little bit of what's going on with all of that.
So P4E has grown into one of, like I said, one of the top leagues, and I'm not trying to. I'm still uncomfortable saying that, because it's beyond amazing.
It's not bragging when it's actual documented fact. I mean, you guys were you even have put teams out of the league into the Drew League, which is the most well-known pro-am league in the world, and you guys just missed the cut by 1 team. So I mean, this isn't like just you're just taking guys off the street and saying, hey, can you dribble a basketball? Okay, you can come in here and play. I mean, you have top level. I remember a couple years ago, you even posting, Montrezl Harrell showed up and was ready to go with you guys because he had already heard about what you're doing. So this is not a just fly-by-night operation. You're allowed to be accurate with your statements here.
Yeah, I'm not one to boast. So that's kind of like where I got to be able to share the story, like Danny Downing says. I got to be able to share our story and be comfortable with it, and that's part of it. But yeah, Montrez played a game. we played in other events where he's been a part of, and Derek Williams, who's a local guy. Derek Williams, the power forward, not the point guard, but there's two. And then now Chris Copeland, who's a former Knick, is playing in our league currently. And we have a couple WNBA girls playing now. But because of that, we've taken guys from our league that I've wanted to connect with, or I already had a good connection with, and played in Pro-Am leagues, money tournaments, the Venice Basketball League where White Men Can't Jump was. And
you guys didn't do too bad in that either. I remember seeing some of those games.
Yeah, in 2019, we won 6 championships, all in Pro-Am level. Or some, they don't always call themselves a Pro-Am, but there's pros playing. VBL, the lowest we finished was quarterfinals, and then even last year we won a couple tournaments with them. So yeah, we were really close to the Drew. If it wasn't for COVID, we'd probably be in. Like this year, we're kind of redirecting, and now we're in the women's Drew, trying to build that program because our guys' program and leagues and ministry is already known. Like I was telling you a little bit earlier, like it's more known than not known, which is beyond. Like,
crazy to think about.
Crazy to think about. Like I can't like imagine that. Like I would always have to like, hey, this is what we are, and like people, when I show up to the Drew, they know P4E, and I was like, I've seen you on Instagram. You're a friend of a friend of a friend, and you're coming up to me. Oh, P4E, let me play in your league sometime. I was like, let's rock. But it's just crazy how many of those people, and then just because I sent out a tryout list, or like people who want to try out for the women's Drew, and I've already been hit by like 10 or 12 professional ladies that want to play, and it's crazy. We're gonna be women's Drew, better watch out. We're gonna be coming in strong.
Yeah, you guys are doing a lot of good stuff out there, both ministry wise and basketball wise. It's exciting to see. You've been developing even beyond just you already were at least I would say a decent level, you would agree with, coach, even going in 4 years ago, but you've been developing yourself as a basketball coach with your knowledge and with talking with these guys. But you have also been diving deep into the idea of how do I actually make this a effective ministry. Those of you that maybe we'll see how many people, those of you that have read Dr. Linville's newest book, if you recognize Don's name, that's because you actually are one of the ones that actually reads the reviews and the forwards and everything. So good for you. But you have been doing a lot of training within the CSRM programs, within some of our other foundational partners here at Reach. You're working towards that. What has been the biggest thing that has impacted you as far as being able to go from, this is a league I can play in at a high level, and with these guys that are all, I'm able to rock with all these guys that are, high level athletes, to where now you're more excited about the fact that you're baptizing them in your pool than you are even that you got them to walk into the gym? What's been the biggest thing that has changed for you?
The easy answer would be me, and allowing God to just take over. Like I tried to be, in the past, the first 5 years, I tried to force it, and we struggled to get 8 teams. Like I had to beg people, like, hey, play, like, come on and play. Now I'm turning teams away, but it's all because I'm letting Jesus take the wheel, per se. But besides that, that's the easy answer, and the biggest answer, but. Reach, I can't give enough credit to Reach, and because it wouldn't be the first time I stepped in the Reach at, I think, Lake Point in Texas, that I was beyond, this is what sports ministry can be and really is. And there's a ton of people doing it that are doing it on a huge scales to small scales. Yes, we're a little bit different than pretty much every sports ministry that comes here, but the principles are the same and the groundwork's the same. And I've learned, I try to take at least one thing and really focus on that. But beyond that, the relationships, connections like you and I and Greg and Bob have been mentors to me, and with Brent and Downey now, like those guys, and Steve Crotcho from APU, from local, and Josh Merrill from Shepherd, they do eternity sports out there.
Mm-hmm.
That group kind of like gave me a good example of, and also like put me in check. Like, hey, like when they ask me a question, I'm like, oh, okay, we're not doing that. I need to figure out how to get there because that's what we should be doing. Not because they said it, because God's really touching my heart at that point. And that, along with just letting Jesus take the wheel and just continue to be as obedient as possible. I'm not perfect, no one is, but just trying to get closer to Him. And then with that, the ministry will get closer to Him, and people are going to see Jesus through me. Hopefully, that's my prayer.
Yeah, you listed off, you basketball wise, you talked about, you've got decently big names coming through, but I would say almost even bigger names have been the ones mentoring you as far as the ministry side. I mean, you're not going to find better mentors within the sports ministry world than Greg and Bob and, Steve Quattro.
Yeah.
Danny Downing, we celebrate 20 years of him, last year. You are definitely connected in the right places. So, it's awesome to see what you're doing, what's going on out there. Where can people that want to find out more information about P4E or what the other stuff you guys are doing with these, potential new leagues and new teams, where can people get information about all that?
The easiest way is on Instagram at Playing for Eternity. The 4 is the number. On Facebook, the same thing, P4E. It's P4E Playing for Eternity Sports Ministry. And then we have the website, playingforeternity.com. And then always hit me up on Instagram, eball the vessel, a couple underscores there. But that's the easiest way. And I just love connecting with people, and that's come from Reach and the focus on that and networking. And, just guys like Eric Dewey, who's in United Kingdom, hit me up because I posted a picture. And we connected at Lake Point, and we only met that one day, but we stayed connected. And those connections are what fuels us to keep pushing forward. And during those low times or frustrating times, there's guys that are doing the same thing that we could rely on. And it's been a big blessing, and it's just amazing that God chose me to run this ministry. And I was a barely a Christian. I just got saved the year before, so. And I'm connecting to the community that I was a part of, because I was part of I didn't grow up in the inner city, but I grew up a street from the inner city. And that's where I hung out, was the inner city, playing basketball, playing sports, and ministering to the community that I was a part of and still is.
Awesome. Yeah, you really are a lot of what, we talk about within this. This is part of why you fit that CSRM person, especially, as well as these others. But this idea of, you, a baby Christian that's wanting to impact impact their community with sports, and especially their local community, their, what we use with our international, the indigenous, population of going back in. And you've been doing that in an awesome, big way. So check out all P4E stuff. Check out Don on Instagram. Some of you, and we'll even do, you even sponsored a couple podcasts last year when we were getting back into it. The opening logos thing for the CSRM podcast, that dunk is coming out of P4E. So go check out all that stuff. Go check out him. You can also check us out at REACHgathering. Depending on if I actually get this up and running here before REACHgathering is over, you can still check out some of our live events. If this is after Reach is over, then you can still go back and listen to some of our main sessions that we're live streaming as well. Those of you that are here at Reach, if you're hearing this, come stop by the CSRM booth. You can jump on the mic as well. I'm not too bad to deal with on the mic, right?
No, this was fun.
Yeah. See, I'm not scary, even though, David Waddell tells people I am. So, anyway, yeah, this has been a little bit of an OVRadio special. You'll be hearing this on the Misfits side. You'll be hearing this on the CSRM side. Come down, check out REACHgathering, check out P4E, check out Misfits, check out CSRM. All the links are going to be in the show notes in the video. So we will talk to you all when we come back. We've got a couple other interviews we're going to be doing down here. We're going to be talking to Brad Winter. We're going to be talking to Brad Bloom. A lot of Brads. I just realized. I'm not quite sure why we got all that.
I don't know many Brads.
I know, but yet they're all here apparently. Apparently that's the other thing you need to be a sports minister, is know a few Brads. So we'll see all the rest of you when we come back. This episode of the Ministry Misfits podcast and this awesome shirt are brought to you by Courageous Clothing Company. Courageous Clothing Company is a Christian family-owned business that specializes in custom designs that they create, as well as bulk screen printing of your custom designs as well. When you buy from Courageous Clothing Company, you're not just buying an awesome shirt, you also are helping spread the gospel across the world through the missions that they support, such as this here with Ministry Misfits, as well as with their own designs that have Christian-themed messages, sharing the gospel in an awesome and relevant way, or as we say within CSRM and Ministry Misfits, strategically relevant evangelism. Check out their entire line at courageousclothingcompany.com. Hey everybody, welcome back. We are doing some OVRadio stuff here, whether this is the Misfits page, whether it's the CSRM page, whether it's Overwhelming Victory, whatever, wherever you're listening, welcome back. We are now here with CSRM board member Brad Winter. He is also the sports and rec guy at Owensboro First Baptist, there in Owensboro, where he is at the rec, which we were hoping to be able to tag, but Facebook is being stupid again and won't let us. So, welcome, Brad. We are still at REACHgathering 2021. We're almost done with REACHgathering 2021. We've only got a few more events, right?
Yeah, so, I mean, we had the Night on the Mountain or whatever it's called, barbecue on the mountain, dinner on the mountain.
Yeah.
We're
getting ready for that.
Yeah, so it's not the greatest barbecue. It's North Carolina barbecue, but nonetheless, it's fun. It's good. It's like one last hoorah.
It's better than Ohio barbecue.
I guess that's true. Yeah.
It's all perspective.
Yeah.
We need David Waddell to officially give us the word as far as how CSRM stands on barbecue, even after we hand off executive director role.
Yeah, to Dan.
I'm pretty sure he still is going to be the one to determine food.
Yes.
So.
Well, I can take over for that if I need to.
That's true.
I mean, my body kind of, speaks for itself. So.
Yeah, well, we'll leave that one alone. So we are going to talk for a little bit here about the one of the interesting things that is kind of just randomly developed. I mean, you could almost say for you there at the rec, you are actually now the home court of a professional basketball team.
Oh, practice facility.
Practice facility for a professional basketball team. How did all of that actually come about?
Yeah, so, there's a guy, when I first came in October 2020, so I've almost been there a year, there was a guy who used our facility to train, and got to meet him. He said, hey, our gym was shut down for COVID. He said, hey, can we do some training? And I was like, yeah, sure, I'm, all for it. And just doing some of the training, he eventually approached me and said, hey, I actually play for this professional team called the Owensboro Thoroughbreds. And, would you be willing to host our combine? We're just looking for a place to do our combine. We've actually never done a combine in the city, despite being Owensboro Thoroughbreds. And so I said, yeah, it's fine. Let's do it, man. And so we hosted the combine. We had about 35, tryout attendees. And it was really neat, really cool. We provided lunch for them. I met with the owner and just said, hey, man, how can I serve you? And he was like, I've never been asked that question before. And I said, he said, well, what do you mean by that? And I said, well, I'll be a chaplain. I can help you with sponsorships. We be your practice facility. I'll be your statistician. I've done stats in college for our athletic program at Tennessee Martin. I'll do whatever you need me to do. And he said, what about all four? And I said, I know I said all that, but let me think about it a little bit. And so we talked.
Let me rethink what I just said.
Yeah. So I thought it through. I couldn't do the sponsorship thing. I said, look, I'm actually pretty brand new to the city. I don't really know anybody yet. I said, well, I think we can definitely be your practice facility. And I sent him the rates at first. I was going to be out of town the first 2 weeks, and he emailed me back and said, hey, man, we actually can't afford what you'd be charging us if we're going to do it weekly. And I thought, man, I don't want to lose this ministry opportunity. So I said, hey, how about just don't even worry about paying us, to use the facility, as long as you allow me to interact with the team and whatnot. And he said, yeah, that's totally fine. So they started practicing at our facility in March. right around Easter.
But you had just gotten there, like just gotten. When did you actually start?
So I started October 1, 2020. So it'll be a year in about 2 weeks, and so yeah, I didn't really know anybody, but I thought, hey, I don't want to lose out on a ministry opportunity, and so what I did was their first couple practices, I would go in, I'd ask for their uniforms on a cart, and I would wash their uniforms. I got them Gatorades, snacks. I ran the scoreboard during practices, and then I had their coach. He was like, "Hey man, because you're doing everything for us, like I'm gonna give you a polo." I'm like, "Hey, you don't have to like. I'm seriously like I know this sounds crazy to some people, but I'm not expecting anything. Like I literally just want to serve you guys, and I mean, and so." Came to where I was doing stats. It was really cool because my spotter was our youth pastor, and I was the official statistician during game day. And I was told by visiting teams, as well as our owner and coach, that we were probably the best, if not the second best, table in the entire league. And so we took care of them. And even one time, the coach, I was talking to a visiting coach, I said, "Hey, we're going to give you stats. We'll give you lineup analysis. I mean, we'll give you every media timeout. What else do you need?" And our coach turned around in the middle of the conversation, said, "Man, nobody else treats us like this when we go on the road." But hey, I got taught. My boss at athletics at UT Martin was an Italian New Yorker. And if you plugged it into the wrong outlet, you got chewed out. So I just, I've been trained to, since my college years, to just do your absolute best on game day, and they appreciated that. And by the end of the year, they were letting me pray for them before the game. In the locker room, they would ask. There was a couple of deaths of friends, family members on the team, and they would let me. Coach would say, "Hey, before practice, can you just pray for us real quick?" And then we got to do a skills. So they want to do a skills clinic every Monday for free for the kids. So they want to get their name out, be in the community. And I said, well, and actually I was here doing the planning conference, whatever, back in May. I said, well, I'm in North Carolina right now, but let me think about it. If you're willing to let me do a devotion, I'll let you do the skills clinic. And they said, hey, you're at a church, why not? And so it's just God just continued to open the door over and over again. So on Monday nights, they come learn skills from professional basketball players. And before they get into the skills clinic, I would do a devotion. Then I actually had other staff members come on and do devotions weekly. And then I also had a couple in the church that actually became close with the team. Their son was a big fan of them. He's about 10 years old, and they actually started opening up their home.
Nice.
They just built a pool in their backyard, and they opened up their home, invited them over. We had canes, and I don't know if they had those in Ohio.
Yeah,
okay, canes.
They are very slowly invading.
Okay, hey, I think it's good chicken, but we had canes, and one night we did pizza, and they just hung out, at the pool, got to know the family, and it was really neat because, and I'm going to digress here just for a second, but just to brag on this couple, they were opening their pool up, and it was like 75. It was really hot the week before, and it was like 75 degrees the day we were supposed to have them over, and he was like, "Hey man, like it's getting cold. I mean, it's not really good pool weather.
Cold is relative.
Yeah, cold is relative,
Yes.
And so he was worried about that, and then he texted me, and I was really proud of him for this. He texted me and said, "Hey man, it's not about the pool temperature. I just realized it's not about the pool temperature. It's about shepherding and discipling." And that was really cool that I'm the sports minister, but a person that was on my committee, my team, stepped up and realized it's not about the pool temperature. It's not about the food. It's not about their house. It's about having these people over and opening up their homes and their lives to these players.
Now that's the place actually I was wanting to kind of go with here, because you're talking about middle of COVID,
Mm-hmm.
when a lot of churches are wondering how we're even going to be able to keep the lights on financially.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And you have a professional athletic team coming to you saying, "Hey, we want to use your gym," and you're saying, "Hey, you can use it for free."
Yeah.
How does that go in the next business meeting? Is this something where church culture wise, you guys are all seeing like, look at this mission field, and this is all about discipleship, or is this something where you got to cast a little bit of vision of, hey, this is much bigger than just, hey, we've got somebody renting out our gym. This is a massive ministry opportunity for us.
Yeah, so I want to confess a little bit and say that I didn't actually bring it to the church and ask if that was okay if they used it for free.
Ask for forgiveness, not permission.
Yeah,
right?
And so if anybody's watched this, Bob, I'm sorry if you watch this. But in all honesty, I'm a very and this is a weakness sometimes, but I'm very ministry focused, and I throw out sometimes the business stuff, and so I just saw it as an ministry opportunity, and I didn't care. And be honest, our church, and they've just been faithfully, like, luckily they've been faithfully giving. And so we've actually been somewhat over on budget a little bit, surprisingly. And so, yeah, honestly, from a financial viewpoint, I wasn't too concerned about it. But the cool thing is, so we started our Wednesday night meals back up towards the end of May. So that was actually right when they were kind of in the middle of their season. And I was actually here doing the conference. And I had another, well, I'm telling you, my team's awesome. So I had another team member. The coach texted me and said, "Hey man, your church gave us some barbecue tonight, or pizza or something like that. I know it was awesome, and we really appreciate it." And I was just like, "Man, I wonder who did that." So I texted my boss and was like, "Hey man, like, thanks for." He's like, "Oh, it wasn't me. It was Jeremy Shiflett." And I was like, so I texted Jeremy. I was like, "Hey man, like, thanks for stepping up and doing that, because they need that." And so the last 3-4 weeks of the Wednesday night meals, we actually had them come over and get food. And it was good because it allowed the church to see them, not just say, "Oh, hey,
Right.
Brad, we know they're practicing with you. We hear that these things are going on." They actually saw faces with names, and then a few came to church with me, which is cool. But one guy was like, "Man, I'm the only chocolate brother in your church. I ain't coming back." And I said, "Oh." So anyway,
we can talk multi-ethnic ministry.
Yeah, that's
here in
some
a
other
little
time. But yeah, so it was just cool that as simple as serving meals before Wednesday night activities and connecting with the team allowed church members to get faces with names, and that's big. I mean, that anybody in
Right.
ministry knows, like, if you can connect name with faces, that makes the world of difference.
And this is really where, small advertisement for our own ministry, that it's our podcast, but whatever. This is the stuff that we talk about within our consultation stuff as far as the ministry integration.
Mm-hmm.
Of this is how we break down those disconnects of, if we've got people that are coming in regularly to our church that church members would not be able to recognize on the street.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a good combination. We've got to come up with another option, and that's at least it sounds like that already was kind of the nature of what the church was all about. Was we're going to welcome them in if they're part of the community.
Yep.
But now actually seeing, like, hey, we're not just welcoming you into the part of the community. We are going to actually spend time focusing in on you for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Which, minor league basketball is not like NBA.
Yeah.
It's more like minor league baseball, where most of these guys are probably working 2 or 3 jobs on top of
Yeah, it's a lot like single A for sure. If you're familiar with baseball.
This is not like they're making millions of dollars doing this.
Mm-hmm.
So these little acts go a long, long way.
Yeah, and I would say too, like, I have a friend of mine, and if he watches this, he does a great job. He runs leagues, and God's been working amazingly in his leagues. Like, they're just exploding at the seams, and that's been awesome. But he'll text me and we'll talk, and he'll say, "Man, like you're probably the most non-traditional sports minister at a church that I've ever seen." And my thing is, like, and nothing on me. Like, nothing on me. It's just open doors, man. Like at the end of the day, we're trying to figure out what league works best, and what. Like, I was talking to a guy on Tuesday, or even Monday. No, it was Tuesday morning, and he said, we're looking at building a facility, and there's an Indian population right by us. We're looking at trying to how to invest in them. And I was like, man, I don't know anything about cricket, but I bet they play some cricket.
Oh yeah.
And so they're like, yeah, we never thought about that actually. That'd be really cool. And so at the end of the day, when you're doing sports ministry, and I've only been in sports ministry for 7 years, so take what you want for what I'm about to say, but man, just look for open doors. There's no need for us to reinvent the wheel. There's no need for us to look for the next hottest thing. Like, there's so many opportunities in your city. If you just look and even ask around, like, connect with people, like, you'd be surprised at how easily ministry could come to you. I've had, with COVID, another example of COVID is I've had to turn people away from renting the gym because so many people are like, hey, we need a gym to rent. We need a gym. Because we just don't have the space or the capacity to do that. But again, like, how easy is it for someone to say, hey, we need a gym for a middle school basketball team, and instead of saying, oh, sorry man, you got to pay, or we can't get somebody there, and just say, hey, like, yeah, let's do it. Do you care if I share a devotion, or even just be a character coach? Like, that's something I'm doing with the Apollo football team right now, and no one knows about Apollo unless you're in Owensboro. But I'm just I'm just standing on the sideline and getting to know the players, and it just it was someone that had asked me, hey, would you be willing to be a character coach? And I thought, well, it's ministry, right? So let's do it. And again, too much ministry, you want quality over quantity, and I struggle with that honestly, but. It's been really fun, and it was really cool. So real quick, so there's they did a faith and family night at the end of the season, last game of the season on Father's Day, and I was really promoting it to the church. I'm like, hey guys, so they surprised me with this jersey. It blew me away. So we have rec shirts. If you see my hat, they're like this gray, and then it's a blue R with the rec logo. And I gave them away to the team. I said, hey, they're really soft shirts. You guys want one? They said, yeah, we'll take one. So I gave them away. And they actually would wear them coming out of the locker room on the home games and then wear them in the away games. And apparently, so I didn't know this till the week before. Apparently, the assistant coach, who I got to go to Holiday World with, that was pretty cool after the season. But he said to the coach, he said, hey man, why don't we do our faith and family night after the rec shirt? And so they surprised me with the jersey that was gray and blue, and on the side had the church logo, which was a cross. But if you didn't look close enough, you just thought it was a regular cross. And so I said, hey guys, but when they surprised me with the jersey that's our church colors, that has our church logo, we need to go and support them, and they did. And then at halftime, I was sitting there, getting stats out, everything, and they said, hey Brad, come to the middle of the court, and I was like, what am I coming to the middle of the court for? And they
I'm not shooting a half.
Yeah, I'm not. You don't want me to. I'll play defense, man. They presented me with a jersey, a rec jersey with my last name on it. So that was pretty cool, and it wasn't anything I was suspecting. It actually drew me back, It just it was pretty emotional. You're washing sweaty jerseys and underwear, and you're cleaning up after them, and you're time away from family for a little bit. But the fact that they thought about me was just pretty cool, and so that was really neat to kind of end the season. And we had them over right at the end of the season for another pool party. I took Coach out for lunch, and then like I said, the assistant coach lives in Indiana. And I said, hey, we're looking at going to Holiday World. I know you guys have season passes. Like, yeah, come on. So we actually spent a whole day with the assistant coach and his wife and kids at Holiday World riding rides and hanging out. So, again, it's just finding that open door and just be willing to serve. I read On the Front Lines by Roger Lipe, who is, I'm not getting paid to say this, but it's about being an effective character coach. And lessons that he wished he would have known when he started doing it. And he just talks about, love selflessly and serve. I don't know. I think it's love effortlessly and serve endlessly or something like that. And so I try to just encompass that in the way I serve the team.
Yeah, but shout out to Roger. I don't know if he's watching or not, but that's it. He just retired finally after I don't even know how many.
Oh, he transitioned actually. He's with the National Character Coach Association.
Oh, see, yeah, that I missed that announcement. I just saw he had finally retired from college chaplaincy. So, but yeah, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to digress.
You lost me, man.
But it's just
that's the fun part about doing things live is everybody gets to see that I really am as scatterbrained as all my guests say I am.
You're good.
Yeah. So for those that may be interested, and they've got minor league teams, they've got maybe professional teams in their league, and they want to know what the first step would be to be able to try to minister to them. What would be your recommendation as far as obviously, it's going to depend on the team. It's going to depend on the sport. It's going to depend on all these different things. But just for the local church that is there in a community where they have this team, what is the simplest first step that they could do?
Yeah, I would say honestly, I would just start if you already know about the schedule, show up to some games, get to know those at the stadium. Be intentional. I tell everybody that everything that we do at the rec's intentional. If I'm going to go to a baseball game and it's a minor league team, I get to know some of them, say hi to them during the games. If you're brave enough and you have the information, I would just reach out to the owner. What I did was I just got fortunate where a player had asked us about a combine, and then I took it on myself during the combine to go sit next to the owner and make a conversation with him. It's just getting to know people. You got to be intentional, be available. I'm trying to think. I mean, you live in Canton. I don't know if they have any minor league teams, but
Used to.
It depends on the size of the town too. I mean, if you're if you're in what Durham, the Durham Bulls, that's a big city, and maybe you don't have space for them to practice baseball, but maybe say, hey, we have a fitness facility. Would you guys want to have free member? Like, so at the Thoroughbred, I said, hey, since this is your practice facility, we're going to give you free memberships to our gym as well. And so, maybe it's as simple as saying, hey, maybe that's the way maybe that's your open doors. You say, hey, what if your players came and worked out at our facility, and we just use it for free? We'll put the membership in our system. We'll get it worked out. But you guys can come and use our weight room. That could be the first step. Or again, I think at the end of the day, it really just depends on your culture, your context. But I would say, like, either start going to their games, get to know them. Even if it doesn't matter how big or small they are, they'll know who their dedicated fans are.
Right.
And but if you're willing just to say, hey, I'll reach out to the owner and say, look, I'm not trying to shove the gospel down your throat or anything like that. I'm a minister, but just trust me, and would you be willing to work with us? We have a facility. In our case, we were in COVID. We weren't really using it. We didn't have Upward that year. And so it was easy. It was an easy yes. And so and I think the church members have to realize that. Even though the church funds it through offering, or could have even been the person that gave a big gift to the facility, that the gym, hopefully they would see it as an opportunity to reach the community. And just open it up to a minor league team, even who knows, like high school teams,
right,
middle school teams, whatever. You have such an easy opportunity for them to come and use your facility and you to minister to them while they're there.
Right, and this is where we talk about all the time on all of our programs of the strategic relevance and the intentionality of evangelistic disciple making goes a long way towards all of this stuff, whether it's the high school team, whether it's the little league team, or whether you're actually dealing with a professional athlete. These things don't change with the level of sport. They transcend it.
Yeah,
so,
and a lot of times they're just seeking my guys. I don't think there was any local. He was local. He was like 30 minutes away from his house, but most of them are from. We had a guy from Canada. We had a couple guys from North Carolina. They're not near family, and so it could be as simple as inviting them to lunch or breakfast, and that could maybe that's something else you do. Maybe you try to reach out to a few of their players, so the owner.
Food always works.
It does, and but maybe if you can't get a hold of the owner, reach out to a player and say, hey, do you mind if I take you to breakfast or lunch? I just want to get to know you. I don't have any agenda. I just want to get to know you. And again, just building those relationships, I think, is what's really key.
Awesome. So yeah, if you want to find out more about the Thoroughbreds or what Brad's doing, you guys can look for their page. They are the Rec Owensboro.
Yeah, it's just the Rec, but if you're on Facebook, if you type in the Rec OWB, which is a local just abbreviation of Owensboro, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram at the Rec OWB. All one word. And then the Thoroughbreds, I want to give them some love too, because we're talking about them. But if you just look up Owensboro Thoroughbreds, they're on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And Chris, who's their owner, is a phenomenal guy. He actually runs a nonprofit. So his brother has disabilities, and he actually runs I think they're called the Ascent Columbus, and they run it's a disability organization, that nonprofit. He creates jobs for them. They actually make all the jerseys and gear for the basketball league. So Chris is a great guy. The owner, he's the owner. The coach, Mark Anderson's actually out of Cleveland, and he comes down for a couple months every year. So shout out to his wife for letting him do that. But the organization as a whole is great. Chris is really trying to change the culture there, and I can't wait. I truly can't wait until they come back. They're going to come back in February, and then I've even gotten a text from the coach saying, "Hey, how's it going in Owensboro? How's the family?" So again, it's just coming down to making relationships and being available.
And this is coming from Mr. Football, that he's excited for basketball season.
Yes, someone said, "What's your favorite NBA team?" I follow the Grizzlies, but it's definitely NFL. Go Steelers. I'm sorry for all your Browns fans out there.
We have to edit all this out now. Thanks a lot. But yeah, you can check out all of that. You can also follow Brad. I think we've got his contact information on the CSRM site since he's a board member. We'll have him up on the Ministry Misfits site once I remember to actually do it. And we'll make sure we link all this stuff in the show notes when it releases on audio. We will be re-releasing this on video here probably in the next few weeks. We did get a couple of other interviews done here at Reach, but it was early in the morning. We figured nobody wanted to wake up for it since we really didn't want to wake up for it.
I'll say something real quick, too. If you're listening to this and you haven't gone to Reach or you're not here, definitely look out for more information regarding the spring conference, or gathering. I don't want to do any push-ups. The gathering coming up in April. I mean, it's a lot of fun. It's actually, I tell my boss, like, and at every church, like, if you just let me go to Reach, I'm cool. Because for me, it lets me refresh and recharge. I'm sad it's not going to be in Asheville in the spring, but I'm looking forward to the spring. So if you're a rec or sports minister, fitness minister, make plans. Come to Reach. With REACHgathering.org, I think is the website. But yeah, I love it. And I would encourage anybody. I mean, it's such a valuable experience.
And those of you that are not here this year, we still have wrestling at Reach tomorrow. We will be broadcasting it live on the Reach Gathering page, and I will be leading the online discussion board for all of our breakout sessions during that time. So if you guys want to check that out, go like Reach Gathering on Facebook. You guys can watch the live stream of Wrestling at Reach tomorrow at 9 a.m. And you guys can also participate.
Eastern time, right?
Yes, Eastern time. Thank you. And you guys will be able to participate in the discussion board as well. For all of our Ministry Misfits folks, we are still planning on being back in the conference circuit by going to the Absurd Conference here in a couple of weeks. You guys still have time to win the free ticket by sharing the video with the hashtag absurd. I did again. I cannot say Absurd Misfits.
You're good. I've never heard that before. Yeah.
Do hashtag Absurd Misfits with the promotional video. That'll enter you into the contest, and you can do it on all of our different social media platforms. Those of you, CSRM Overwhelming Victory, that have no idea what I'm talking about, go check out us over on Ministry Misfits, and you can find out all that information as well. But yeah, Brad, thanks for doing this. We'll have to do a longer interview talking some of this other stuff that we were talking before, but for now we're gonna sign off because we've got, I don't know what we got going on.
We got dinner on the mountain at 6:30.
We got that, but they said activities, but they didn't really specify what that means. So I'm not sure if we
take naps, you know.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we should be scared or if we should be excited or if we should just go ahead back to the room and take a nap. So
I'm gonna say naps, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we'll see what we do here. So anyway, those of you that want to join us again live, you can join us on the Reach Gathering page tomorrow morning. The rest of you, be on the lookout. We've got a couple of other interviews that we did that we'll be releasing on other formats here and over the next couple of weeks. So we will see the rest of you all later.
The Ministry Misfits podcast is a production of Overwhelming Victory Flicks, Overwhelming Victory Radio, and Ministry Misfits Media. Dr. Greg Linville and Andrew Fouts are our executive producers, and Brandon Simmons is associate producer. Our music is provided by Morning Light Music and is titled Rain. If you would like to get in touch with us, you can email us at ministrymisfitmedia@gmail.com or by following @ministrymisfit on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. You can support Ministry Misfits at anchor.fm/Ministry Misfits or for FO1c3 credit by going to csrm.org/donate and selecting Andrew Fouts in the campaign menu. To learn more about Overwhelming Victory or to listen to our sister podcast, visit overwhelmingvictory.org.